Guys, I know I haven't made a video in like a really long time and I apologize. I've just been really busy lately, but I'm here now. That's all that matters, that I'm still here and alive. But today I decided to make a DIY video for Lush Bubble Bars, inspired by Lush. For those of you who don't know, bubble bars are the exact same thing as bath bombs, except they have bubbles in them, so they're like way cooler because what's a bath without bubbles, am I right? And I thought it'd be really cool to do that because it's a lot cheaper than just buying a bunch of them. Doing it this way equals more bubble bars for a cheaper price. And I was like, heck yeah, so let's do it. I'm so embarrassing. Just take a moment to let that sink in about how embarrassing I am.
First ingredient you're going to need is cornstarch, which can be found at any grocery store. The second ingredient you'll need to purchase is baking soda, which also can be found at a grocery store. You're also going to need some olive oil, some food coloring, which I also recommend the neon ones because they produce a lot more better color than just any regular food coloring, and it just looks a lot better. You're also going to need some glycerin, which can be found at any craft store like Michael's, but I got mine online along with another ingredient you're going to need to get online, so I just think I found that a little cheaper. The next thing you're going to need is some essential oil, which acts as the scent of the bubble bars, and you can get like Burt's Bees, but I just got this one because it's mango butter and I found it a little more appealing, just kind of preference. The next ingredient you'll need is cream of tartar, which I got at Target, and it can be found in any grocery store in the spice section. The last and final ingredient you will need is SLSA, which is sodium lauryl sulfoic acid or something like that, and it's used for the bubbles in the bubble bars, and that's what creates that reaction in it. Don't pay attention to the one that I got because I got the wrong type of sodium sulfoic acid. It still worked, but it just didn't create the doughy consistency, and it kind of made my bubble bars fall apart and not work as well. And so make sure you get the right one, and this can be found online only. I got mine on Amazon, and the only reason it's a little bit more expensive is because, again, it is a chemical. But don't worry, it is completely safe to use. Find a large bowl to put your ingredients in to mix them up, and you'll first need 1 cup of baking soda. Next, you're going to need 1 tablespoon of your olive oil. Then you're going to need 1/3 cup of cream of tartar, 1/3 cup of cornstarch, 1/3 cup of glycerin, and make sure to pour in every single last drop because I did not do this, and again, mine did not turn out that great. Finally, pour in your SLSA, which is 1 cup, by the way, and I highly recommend wearing gloves and a type of mask with this because it gets really powdery and it just gets all the SLSA in the air. After you are done adding in everything, I forgot to do this step in the previous videos, but add in your couple drops of essential oil and continue to just mix around this powdery-like substance until it becomes a dough-like substance. This should be your end result, but keep in mind that yours should look a lot more doughy and less powdery because I used the wrong SLSA, but yours will just look better. The next thing you should do is separate your dough into 3 different size containers in order to separate the types of colors. Next, choose the food coloring color that you want to be the outside layer of your bubble bath bar so it will show up the most in your bubble bath bar, and just make sure to use a few drops, and that should be enough because once you keep mixing it keeps spreading, so only a few drops is really necessary. This is how the pink ended up turning out. Next, add your second color to the dough, which will be to your second most amount of dough bowl, which will add the second most amount of color in your bubble bath bar. This will be your final result. Next, get your third and last final color to put it in the bowl with the least amount of dough, which will result in the least amount of color in your bubble bath bar. If you want more scent in your bubble bath bar, then go ahead and add a few more drops of essential oil to each bowl of dough. Next, grab a baking sheet, and I only had this, which is also a baking sheet, but a regular one works better, and put some baking soda on top of it. Next thing you want to do is grab the bowl with the most amount of dough in it, which was your first color, and flatten it out on the baking sheet like so. After doing that, grab the bowl with the second amount of dough, which was your second color, and flatten it out on top of the first layer. Then add the third layer, which would be the bowl with the least amount of dough, and flatten it on top of the second layer. After you're done, go ahead and flatten out the whole entire thing on top of each other. At the end, I just put all the little pieces of extra color crumble on the top just to see how it would turn out. The next thing you want to do is put the first flap of the baking sheet and roll it over on top of the dough to make it like a burrito, and keep rolling the dough in onto itself. And I failed miserably at this part because, again, I used the wrong SLSA and I didn't put all the glycerin in, so it made it more powdery than more doughy. And just please follow the instructions so you can do this a lot easier than what I did. This is what your final product should look like, and again, yours will be a lot more doughy than powdery, and it won't come apart like mine is about to in the next clip. The next thing you want to do is cut the dough with a large knife in pieces where they're not too thick and not too small, kind of like cucumbers. So this is how the color in mine turned out like. But when you do yours the right way and use the right SLSA, the colors will turn out a little more precise and defined and not as ugly as mine did. And mine made about like 10 or 12 pieces, but when you use them, you cut them in half, so it actually makes double the amount. When you put the pieces in your bath, they're already cut in half, but then cut them in half again, so this gives you more, and you really only need like 1/4 of the original piece you cut. And after you put them in, this is kind of the color it came out to be, which is a purpley pink color. But trust me, in person it looked so much better, and it looked a lot more pink. It's just my camera didn't really capture that. To store my bubble bars, I put them in this little bucket and put them on top of my toilet for decoration.
Thank you for watching my video, and if you have any questions on how to do any of these things, just leave them in the comment below and I'll be sure to answer them. Leave any more suggestions on what you'd like me to do, and I'll put them into consideration. And please like and subscribe. Kisses for you all. Bye.